Yo, what's up guys, it's Talon. Today we're going to be teaching you how to play the best AP jungler in Wild Rift. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking I'm talking about Diana, but I'm actually talking about Ekko. And, you know, I'll be honest with you, Diana and Ekko are both extremely strong champions, extremely strong AP junglers. And some people definitely think that Ekko is not as good as Diana. My personal opinion after playing a lot of both of them is that Ekko's better. And one of the first reasons is you can see this clear right here. Just the way you can clear can be extremely fast in the jungle overall if you start onto the Krugs especially. I don't normally start Krugs on most champions, but with Ekko you can clear them so fast that it's really nice to start onto them just because of how fast you can clear them. And if you get the clear down, you can just do it really, really fast. I'm not even perfect at it, but if you watch, you know, like a Chinese Ekko player, they can do it super, super fast. And so initially just going through the build here, typical build that you're going to go on Ekko. I like Electrocute. You can also go for Fleet in the jungle. Again, if you're playing mid lane, you go for Fleet. But in jungle, I like Electrocute a lot. For my runes, I have Gathering Storm, Giant Slayer, Alacrity, and then Perseverance. For the build, you typically will go for Mana Boots Rush, then Nashor's Tooth. Then you'll go for Soul Stealer, Death Cap, Crown, and then either Infinity Orb or Lich Bane. Kind of up to you. There's a couple options you could go for, but yeah, one of those two options typically in most games. Maybe you'll need anti-shield or anti-heal as well. It just depends on the game. But typically here for Ekko, you're just going to do a nice little full clear, pretty straightforward full clear, and then after that, you know, go for the scuttle. See what you can get out of that, and you're really going to just be focused on getting two, 3 items, really being able to carry on those items. You're going to see how pretty straightforward early game. You just kind of go for the clears, you know, play pretty straightforward, play pretty selfish, again, all these types of things. And then we'll talk about some of the mechanics as we need, go more in depth and everything like that. One of the main things is just making sure like W usage is good. That's one of the main things. So I wanted to see if I could kill him here. Obviously didn't quite. I wanted to see if this would end up killing him, but just barely missed him. So unfortunate there, but it is what it is. Either way, we're just going to go for the scuttle now here, but we do see the Caitlyn and the Seraphina overextended, so we're going to end up going for them as well. We're going to wait for our W. We're going to just go straight in and flash because we think we can just one-shot them, which we do. And then I'm going to throw my W onto my clone there. Going to ult onto the clone or whatever you want to call it. And then get that double kill onto the Seraphine. So that's one of the first major things you can do with Ekko. Is you can throw your second ability onto where you want to ult. And then you can ult there. Obviously I didn't wait for it to pop. Because if you wait for it to pop, then you can stun. But because I wanted to get there really quick, I just ended up going straight in before it ended up popping. But we got the shield from it to kind of help us if we did end up having a chance of dying or anything like that. So very good start for us overall. Now we're just going back to clearing again. Just focus on that efficiency on Ekko, making sure that you're getting yourself at least mana boots plus, half of the Nashor's Tooth by the time that you go for the first objective. Typically, you're going to prioritize Herald if you can. Herald's almost always going to be what you prefer. But obviously, if your dual laner doing really well and your top laner is not doing as well, you might want to have to go for the dragon instead. So that's just typically how you're going to decide what you want to go for. Overall, now, again, we're just going to sit here. You have really good ganks with your second ability and then your stun. So we're going to go there, look for that, see if we can do anything. We don't quite get in range, but again, we have, no really camps to farm. So we waited for our camps to kind of spawn. And then now that the camps have spawned, we're just going back to farming them, in a pretty straightforward manner once again. That's typically kind of how the Ekko gameplay works. Again, you go for those ganks like you when you see them after clearing. But if nothing really shows up, you just go right back to clearing. So again, here we go back to the top side. Just really a focus on efficiency. That's, really the main thing kind of to speak about. And then in the later parts of the game, you really can start popping off and everything like that. So our Akshan's doing pretty well. The early game's going pretty well overall. But yeah, Ekko's damage is really what makes him just so absurd. Like his burst damage and one-shot potential in the late game is insane. The same way that Diana's is. But the difference is Ekko's a lot safer with that ultimate. And that ultimate, in my opinion, is really what makes him so absurdly broken. Because his ultimate is really, really, really low cooldown in the later parts of the game, which is just absurd, so you can have it up pretty much at all times. And that's really the OP part. And so again, here we're going to look for the potential dive. We're on a ward, but it doesn't really matter. We can still just go over the wall there. But we do see the Pantheon ult, so obviously we end up just running away from the Pantheon. They get hooked in, so we ult onto that, get some poke onto them. We don't quite kill, so luckily the Akshan comes here, and we end up getting those two people. Unfortunately, I did, use my dash into the Pantheon shield, so not the best by me, but still worked out. Good roam from Akshan. This is legendary rank, by the way, guys, if you're wondering. We hit Vanquisher on this stream as well in legendary rank. You can't really get higher than Vanquisher right now for the most part because the matchmaking is really, really long, so we're done with the legendary rank for this season, and now I'm trying to go from gold to master in 4 days. That's kind of the goal. And so again, Rengar catches us out here, but because of the combat power we have, we're still almost able to kill him. Luckily, our Akshan does end up reviving us. I should have probably just kited into my shield, to be honest. That was not very smart by me to not go straight into my shield. But either way, it worked out, so, you know, it's not really the end of the world. And then because we got that revive, we're just going to go straight for the Herald. And they're not going to be able to contest us. We can see here, our top laner is down an absurd amount of gold. You know, he's very far behind. And that's kind of going to be the name of the game. It's kind of going to be the top lane gap versus the mid and jungle gap of our team. I try to not smite that because I know nobody's contesting me, and so I'd rather have my smite for the dragon as well, potentially. But I just end up going back and farming because not much really ends up happening here. The Jax does go on me, and I kind of get surprised by how much damage he does as well. I wasn't really sure that he would be, you know, one-shotting me basically there, but he does. So we just kind of go back to farming now. I don't really mind giving up that dragon at this point. I'd rather just make sure that I'm farming efficiently and everything like that, which is another important thing to understand on Ekko. Like, it's okay to just get one objective and then just kind of chill out. You don't need to try to force both objectives or do anything crazy. Just focus on the farm, make sure you're getting, you know, very efficient, getting your gold up. Like, I'm already on Nashor's Tooth, for example. That's really, really good early pacing for my jungle overall. And then again, I have the, the turret, and so I'm trying to drop the turret for my Akshan if I can, before I really contest or anything. That's more what I care about. Like, notice how I don't care about that dragon, because it really doesn't matter to me at the end of the day. I just want to be strong enough where we can get one of the 3 dragons so that they don't get soul. And then now we're going to try to go here afterwards and still catch them out. We're still going to even be possibly able to get that dragon, and so we end up getting that Rengar there, ulting onto both of them, getting a bunch of damage, and being able to kind of pop off there. And then that Jax rotates, and he's kind of popping off, but we're still able to get him in the end, so it works out. And so that ult usage is really kind of the main thing that I would say is something to keep track of, and it's a 3.5 second like delay. So your ultimate is 3.5 seconds behind you for you to rewind time. So sometimes I'll kind of keep track in my mind when I like walk somewhere where I know I want them to walk in. I'll be like 1, 2, 3, like in my head I'll be counting like that. And that kind of helps me make sure that I understand, you know, how to, or when my ult is going to come. I'll sort of keep track of that, and I'll really be paying attention to that, because that's kind of the main thing about Ekko, really, is that ultimate. Everything else is pretty straightforward for the most part. You just got to make sure you proc your passive by getting 3, you know, like points of damage on people to get that burst damage onto them, and the electrocute proc. But apart from that, it's really about the ultimate alongside the W usage. So the second ability usage, very, very important as well. But again, overall, we're just farming up really nicely here. We're already on 2 items. Now going for that death cap 3rd item. Once we hit that death cap, you're really going to see the damage kind of start to spike. But until then, the Ekko damage it's solid. Again, you just focus on farming, getting yourself up, and then getting to those points in the game overall. But the main combo, you're usually going to just go in 3rd ability, auto attack to get that, you know, long range auto attack. 1st ability when you're on top of someone. And then, you know, you might throw your 2nd ability before you use your 3rd ability on them as well, depending on the scenario. Sometimes you don't have time and you just have to straight 3rd ability onto them. Other times, you know, it's a bit more planned and you can use your 2nd ability and then 3rd ability into your 2nd ability to get that stun, to get that shield, like you see me trying to do here. But then obviously they end up not going there, so we end up just, you know, dashing somewhere else. Then we're going to go cut off this Seraphine so that she ends up dying here, and you can see that burst damage is very absurd. So that's really the absurd thing. I mean, I'm literally able to one-shot squishies. That's why I just think this champion's so OP. And then overall, we see the Jax here, so we're trying to protect our teammate from the Jax. But obviously that Jax extremely fed, so we're not really going to try to overly fight them at the moment, because they do block our auto attack, so it's kind of hard for us as a champion to actually kill them. So we're kind of going to let our team, you know, deal with that, and then if we see Jax's 3rd ability go out, then we can go on him. Then we can try to one-shot him and burst him down, because that's really going to be the main thing that we're trying to do. But yeah, their Jax is a good player. He's a challenger player. He's a player I've played with and like duoed with and whatever, so I didn't know at the time that it was him because it's legendary ranked and it's anonymous, but obviously we saw the names afterwards. So, and my Akshan is a sovereign mid laner as well, so we had a nice mid laner, kind of us carrying this game so far, doing really well. The Akshan definitely popping off, and it's a nice thing too to pick Ekko with a champion like Akshan. Like any early game AD mid laner works perfectly with Ekko. Mostly due to the fact that you have those mixed damage types and you have the early game presence from a champion like Akshan to get you through that early game, so that you can then carry the later parts of the game. And so here, we see them pushing the side lane, so I'm just going to go in the bush since I don't have much else to do. I could get the wave, and if he shows up here, I can obviously just kill him. And so we end up killing him, get that wave as well. And that's another thing that you really want to do as Ekko, is find these moments to get that gold in the side lane, especially before the Baron spawns. So since there's no Baron, there's no objective, I'm perfectly happy just going for this wave, going for all this gold. And then I know Jax is somewhere, so once I see Jax, then I'm okay with going and trying to see if I can farm my camps or anything like that. But again, getting that extra gold from those waves, really, really important, really helps out with Ekko a lot overall. And you can just see again here, we're going to even go back probably to top side to end up trying to catch out that Seraphine if we can. I don't remember if we end up catching her or not. But we see her there, so we're going to try to catch her. Actually, don't know if she just recalled in time. She might have just recalled that fast. But now I want to stay for one more wave because I know I'm 200 gold from death cap, so I kind of make sure I go up on this wave and try to get the gold from it. Which again, that's another thing, is having awareness of how much gold you need for your next item. That's really the main thing that you should really understand, like, as a champion. So I'm hitting that 3-item spike at 11 minutes, which is literally before second dragon, which is absurdly quick. And if you're able to do this, I mean, you're going to be in a great spot. But even hitting 2 items before second dragon is pretty good. That should be what you're typically aiming for, is at least that Gnasher's Tooth plus Soul Stealer combo. And then here we end up trying to pick the Jax, and this is a unique thing that you can actually do when the enemy side laner is really fed and the rest of your team is doing really well, and that is try to pick off the enemy on side lane right before the dragon. So about 20 seconds before dragon, you try to pick them off. What this lets us do is get control over the side lane, so the side lane's not being pressured, and then we can late contest the dragon. And since we already have one dragon, we don't necessarily care about getting this. We just care about the fight afterwards. And so even if I come a bit late, somehow Akshan stole that, which is funny, but even if I came a bit late, I'd be perfectly happy with that, because we could just contest and you know, fight them, whatever. And even if we don't, we end up, you know, getting that Jax to make sure he's not pressuring our side. So I'm perfectly happy with a situation like that occurring, even if I end up losing that dragon, because the win condition for me is not really soul. It's just me being really fed and one-shotting people, as long as that Jax does not completely take over the game. And so I kind of understood, you know, that's what matters more, is making sure that Jax is not, you know, completely screwing my team over. And so then here we're going to just one-shot that Caitlyn, because, you know, why not one-shot a Caitlyn? Who doesn't like one-shotting a Caitlyn? And so, again, that's why you like playing this champion. You get to one-shot people. We want to force this Baron. I think I actually throw really hard here. You're going to see in a second. But we hard in this play here. You know, spoiler alert maybe, but we try forcing the Baron. Obviously, we then see the Pantheon, so we want to go fight him. Try to kill that Pantheon so that they can't really contest the Baron. We do indeed kill the Pantheon. And so now we want to go for this Baron here. And I'm quite low health, and my mistake here is I'm tanking it. I shouldn't have been taking it. I should let my teammate tank it. As you're going to see, I get lower health than I realize, and so then I end up smiting early because I'm like, I'm going to die. I need to smite this. And because I smite it, now they have a chance of getting it, and so I try to combo it, but then at 21 HP, Seraphine steals in. So a complete imp by me. Really dumb by me. Overall, again, like, I was scared I was going to die. So I just smite early to make sure I heal. But in hindsight, I should have ulted, because if I just ulted first, I would have got healing up as well. Would have got damage on it, and then I have the smite the last hit. So obviously very stupid of me, but you know, we're just making the game interesting. I'm a content creator. I think about content, you know, in my gameplay. So I was just trying to make the game more interesting for you guys. But you can see here, the Jax is really the only problem still. So we can just stall the game out as long as they don't, you know, end the game off this or get a bunch of inhibs. We're kind of still fine. So I'm still just going to focus on my farming. Not the end of the world, hopefully, you know, but either way, we're going to try to push out the side lane after. This is another thing that you need to do when enemy have Baron. Push out the sides. Don't let them push all 3, you know, turrets at once. As long as you're making sure that you kind of stall out, push out one side, then go back and cover a different side, you're going to be fine. So because of the fact that you see them, they're only really pushing mid lane. Their bot lane's really behind. We push this top lane out. They don't actually have as much to do with the Baron compared to, you know, most Barons. So that's a really good thing that you can do to prevent Barons. Even into the regular Baron, you can do this too. It's not only into the T-Rex. So even when the new Baron comes out, you guys will still be able to do the same thing. And so overall, again, we're just clearing the side waves. We're stalling it out. It's still looking fine. Still, you know, having absurd burst damage like we do. And then the enemy kind of int this. We end up trying to go kill this Seraphine. So we do kill her because my champion's kind of OP. While we're making a video on it. And then we get the Pantheon as well. So now we still killed them all. Really ends up being totally fine. We still pretty much wipe them. Again, apart from the Jax, who's kind of the one person being useful. He tries to one-shot us. Not the, you know, smartest plan by him. I guess he thought he could one-shot us, but pretty hard in general for Jax to play this game. The team is not the best for him, but we've been having a lot of Ekko games, a lot of good Ekko games lately, so I definitely gonna show you guys a variety of games. This is just one where I knew that we, had a pretty good game, but this champion I've been popping off on in general lately, it's very OP, like a lot of really good games. It's really hard carry champion. So definitely, like, in my opinion, the two best junglers in the game right now, in my opinion, are Ambessa and Vi. And then Ekko is right after that as the third best, in my opinion. But Ekko, in my opinion, is the hardest carry of those three, because he just completely one-shots, can completely take over games. But the other ones are a bit, more versatile, because they're tankier. They can make more engages, more plays for their team. So that's kind of where those two, in my opinion, become a bit stronger. But Ekko's just overall damage is pretty absurd. And in my opinion, even after the durability update, Ekko's still going to be a top jungler. You just might be building Riftmaker more often on him to get a bit more of that, damage into the tankier champions potentially. But I still think Ekko's going to be very, very strong. And so now we're just trying to contest the objective, make sure we get anything that we can. Gonna one-shot the Caitlyn because, again, who doesn't like one-shotting people? So now we go for this dragon. The enemy don't contest it, which is kind of silly, I would say. But then again, they're pretty behind, so maybe they just can't really do it. But this is the soul, so we end up just getting soul off this. Our team goes to the other side of the map, fighting a bit. They get a shutdown onto our Darius, but honestly, Darius isn't really important for us. Overall, all that matters is me and Akshan. And so Akshan ends up getting another kill there. And now we can just force the Baron after we kill the Seraphine. So that's really the main thing that we're looking for overall. And then, yeah, I don't remember if I already mentioned this, but I'm trying to go from gold to master in 4 days, which obviously, kind of hard to do, but I will be grinding a lot on my stream. So if you're watching this, I'm currently, as I'm recording this, Platinum 2 after starting in gold yesterday. I haven't streamed today yet, and so I'm playing pretty much only Ekko and Diana there in jungle, pretty much just spamming those two champions all the way up just to try to get there. Solo queue only to show you guys, you can climb in solo queue really, really quickly. If I'm able to do it in 4 days, if you employ some of the things that I teach you guys, you'll be able to do it too. We'll see if we're actually able to get there, because it will be more of a time constraint more than anything. So we'll see if we're actually able to do that. But either way, I'm going to probably make a video on that if we do end up getting that. So just pointing that out in case you guys, are on the lookout or you want to watch my stream. I stream on Twitch and YouTube. Just pointing that out because, we don't have much to talk about right now. We'll see if we find any other interesting parts of this game. But overall, I mean, the game is pretty straightforward to end at this point. We just want to go for the Elder Dragon. Whenever the Elder Dragon comes up, I'm going to recall for my last item. So we're going to hit 5 items by the time Elder Dragon spawns, which is, the dream as a jungler, hitting your full build by the time Elder is up. If you do that, you're probably chilling. And now we just want to make sure we don't flip the objective. We want to kill Rengar before we do the objective. Because if we don't kill Rengar, he could steal it. Obviously, that'd be very scary. And I don't like scary things, I do kind of like scary movies. I don't really watch scary movies. I don't watch movies, but, I don't know what my point is, guys. I'm tired. I streamed for 8 straight hours yesterday doing that. Playing this game, playing some of these games in Legend Queue, and then once we got Vanquisher, we ended up, doing that challenge, like I said. So I'd just be saying words at this point. Either way, my ADC for some reason is trying to flip the objective, but I don't want to flip it. So I'm telling him to retreat, but he's just sitting there, being a silly goose. Like silly gooses do. That's just what they do. And so we're just sitting here trying to be patient. Again, my champion can one-shot people, so I don't necessarily need to overforce. And then we're going to one-shot the Jax, as I told you guys. So that's really what we were waiting for, was someone to overextend, not letting our teammates, drag us into their dumb plays. Instead, we're just going to try to go do what we can. We're going to go one-shot the Rengar afterwards because, again, my champion is OP. And so that's how we're able to carry the game, even with teammates kind of inting at the end there, making dumb plays. Shout out to the Akshan. Obviously, Akshan played extremely well as well. And then look at that damage from the ultimate. Oh my god. The damage is absurd. And again, just crazy damage. That's why I think this champion is genuinely better than Diana. And again, this is in a relatively high elo game. I mean, it was Guardian 1 gameplay, which, is mostly a lot of challenger players, some grandmasters. I don't remember the specific elo of everyone in this game. But either way, again, decently high-level game, and we're just able to do these things. And this isn't the only time I've done this. Again, I've had multiple games where I'm able to do things like this and just kind of hard carry. And so now we have the Elder Dragon. We're just going to try to one-shot whoever shows up because we don't have the Baron, so it's a little harder to actually end the game. I'm just going to heal off that Gromp with my Smite and just look around, see if we can one-shot anyone again, or just force the Baron once it comes up. A bit of a longer game though. Bit of a longer game here for sure. That's typically what happens when you get the Baron before Elder, is like then you kind of have to wait for the next one. It's a little hard, but yeah, then they end up going a bit overextended here. We catch out the Seraphine. Shout out to Blitzcrank for that hook. Pantheon shows up, so we want to one-shot the Pantheon. But then, yeah, the Rengar came out of nowhere. We one-shot him. And I think we just end here. Yeah, pretty much the name of the game with Ekko is farm up and then one-shot people. It's really not that difficult of a champion to play. I'd say the ultimate and the second ability are the main things you gotta get used to. But everything else is pretty straightforward, and so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, I do coaching on my YouTube channel for $15 an hour. Just DM me on Discord, Talon1169, or through the link in the description to join my Discord server. If you're interested in memberships, you get access to coaching notes, you get access to YouTube videos early and everything like that. It's $5 a month for that. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.